In a previous video how this Pro-Am event originally wasn't even going to be televised, but there were so many fans who were emailing the organization saying, how can we watch Caitlin? Can we come to the event? Can you live stream it? All of these things. And it ended up being put on television. And that was great. Fans were really excited about that. There was so much buzz online. She was trending on Twitter, all of the things. And the LPGA was promoting the crap out of this event. And they also did something really smart by pairing her up with their currently #1 golfer in the world.
Everyone thought they had Caitlin Clark figured out. She was a basketball prodigy, the one who rewrote the NCAA record books. The undeniable generational talent whose entire world was a hardwood court. But what if we've all been missing the bigger picture? What if basketball was just a beginning, and her true potential lies in shattering the very idea of what a specialized athlete can be? This is a story of a single day that changed everything. A performance so unexpected it left the greatest golfer of all time, Tiger Woods, staring frozen in a state of pure unadulterated disbelief. What you're about to hear will challenge a core what you thought was possible in raw, untamed talent steps onto an entirely new stage.
Caitlin, that could be in. Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!
It all started with what should have been a quiet, laid-back event. The RSM Classic Prom, by all accounts, is a definition of a chill golf outing. A few pros, a handful of celebrities, some light-hearted competition under the sun. The kind of event where the biggest story is usually a funny shank or a cool trick shot, and the primary goal is networking and charity, not fierce competition. Organizers expected a standard, manageable crowd, the usual golf enthusiasts who appreciate the subtle artistry of the game more than roaring cheers. There was no media circus planned, no major television coverage beyond a simple stream. The atmosphere was designed for relaxation, a gentle exhibition where the pressure of a major championship was entirely absent. Then a name quietly appeared on participant list, almost like an afterthought, a last-minute addition that seemed innocuous at first glance. Caitlin Clark. And that's when the entire atmosphere snapped in an instant. That single name transformed the serene gathering into an electric buzzing frenzy, a palpable energy shift that could be felt across the entire resort.
Next on the tee, Caitlin Clark.
Tickets that had been gathering dust for weeks suddenly vanished in a matter of hours, the website crashing under the unprecedented load. But here's the fascinating part. People weren't scrambling to see golf legends. They weren't there for the LPGA stars. They had one singular mission: to witness the woman who flipped the WNBA on its head try her hand at a completely different game. By the morning of the event, the crowd were lining up not in polo shirts, but in Caitlin Clark basketball jerseys, a sea of Iowa and Indiana colors against a green backdrop. The scene felt less like a pristine country club and more like a pivotal Indiana Fever game with an excitement that was contagious and utterly foreign to the typically reserved sport. One announcer, sensing a historic shift, joked, "Welcome to the first true crossover in sports history. Basketball meets birdie."
Wow. Are we sure it didn't go in?
I'm nervous.
Is this like a, we're good, we're gonna call this a birdie?
I don't think so.
But little did anyone know, the real shock was still waiting to happen, lurking just beyond that first tee box. The tension on the first tee was so thick you could almost touch it. A weighted anticipation that made the air itself feel heavy. The announcer's voice, usually a calm backdrop, boomed through the speakers, charged of the energy of the moment. Each syllable echoing across the now silent gallery from the University of Iowa, now representing the Indiana Fever. Please welcome Caitlin Clark. A profound silence fell over the thousands of spectators, a collective holding a breath that was more dramatic than any roar. Every single eye was locked on the young woman who walked up with an unnerving calm. her posture radiating a focus that seemed to shrink the massive course around her. She had that same easy smile, the one she wears before draining a half-court three-pointer. A look that suggests she's on a secret no one else knows.
WNBA, because the LPGA just did everything that the WNBA should have been doing this season. They did it all correct.
But the detail that made it all so surreal was what was in her hands. It wasn't a basketball. It was a driver, its sleek metallic head gleaming in the sun, an object that felt both alien and perfectly natural in her grasp. She looked down the sprawling fairway. A corridor of green flanked by towering pines took a single measure breath, and then with effortless grace she swung. The sound that followed was a clean, sharp crack that echoed across the course. A noise so pure and powerful it made seasoned golfers in the crowd nod in appreciation. It was a sound of perfect contact. A golfer's holy grail. The golf ball didn't just fly. It soared as if guided by an invisible force. A white speck climbing against the blue sky before arcing perfectly and landing a staggering 270 yards down the center of the fairway. The crowd erupted, a mix of cheers and pure disbelief, the silence breaking into a wave of astonishment. And in the midst of it all, Tiger Woods, a man who has seen every perfect swing imaginable, raised his eyebrows and chuckled, uttering words that would instantly become legend. "That's the best first swing I've ever seen from a non-pro." An endorsement from the king himself, a statement that carried more weight than any trophy. But that was just the first spark, a mere hint of the inferno that was to come. The explosion was coming, and it was going to be digital. The internet, as it always does, went absolutely insane, transforming from a platform of scattered conversations into a unified chorus of shock. The world of sports media scrambled, tearing up their Puritan scripts about relaxed celebrity outings, now frantically drafting new copy to capture this seismic story. Steph Curry, a formidable golfer himself who understands immense difficulty of a sport, tweeted out almost instantly, his message cutting through the noise. "Caitlin Clark might just be better than me at this point." That single post broke the internet, sending Caitlin Clark Golf to the #1 trending spot worldwide with millions of impressions flooding in within the first hour. ESPN, seizing the moment, boldly called her the most natural crossover athlete since Michael Jordan, a comparison that ignited fierce debates, but also underscored the magnitude of her feat. Golf Digest, the venerable Bible of the sport, ran a headline that said it all. A simple yet profound declaration. Caitlin Clark just changed golf forever. And the most astonishing detail of all, the twist that made the story utterly irresistible. She wasn't even trying. According to flabbergasted reporters who spoke with her team, Clark had shown up just to relax and have fun, viewing the event as a welcome distraction from the pressures of her basketball season. Her version of relaxing apparently is casually shattering expectations and leaving an entire industry questioning its own logic. Proven for some greatness is a mode you turn on and off, but a constant state of being. If you're amazed by what you can do outside our sport, hit that like button. It lets us know we should dive deeper into stories like this. Stories that challenge the very boundaries of athletic potential. But while the golf world was celebrating, a curious and deafening silence began to echo from a very specific corner. A void of noise that was as telling as any explosion. Remember those WNBA names that were constantly in the headlines alongside Clark all season? The voices that seemed to have a perpetual commentary on her rise, her fame, and her impact. The very players who had so much to say about her both on and off the record. Suddenly, Chindy Carter, Angel Ree, and others seemed to have their vocal cords removed, their normally very active social media feeds falling into a bizarre synchronized quiet. Not a single tweet, not a congratulatory post, not even a vague indirect mention. Nothing. The same individuals who had some say about her receiving attention about the narrative surrounding her rookie year were now mysteriously quiet when she was making history in a different arena, achieving something no other basketball player had ever done. Fans were quick to pounce, their digital southing highlighting the stark contrast between the golf world embrace and the basketball world silence. One commenter sarcastically wrote, "Funny how Caitlin's breaking records and all her rivals turn into ghosts," while another pointed out they had time to throw shade all year, but no time to say congrats when it doesn't involve them. That silence in its own way was louder than any roar of the crowd. It spoke volumes about a rivalry that extended far beyond the basketball court, hinting at insecurities and tensions that a golf course thousands of miles away had somehow managed to expose. Meanwhile, the professional golf circuit offered a starkly different and far warmer reception, rolling out the green carpet in a way that felt genuinely welcoming. Nelly Korda, the #1 ranked player in the world and a superstar in her own right, made a point to seek Clark out after round, not for a photo op, but for a genuine private conversation. Her simple, powerful words, "You belong here," offer validation that transcended sports, a message of inclusion from one elite athlete to another. Another star, Maria F.Y., echoed the sentiment, telling reporters with palpable excitement, "Caitlyn's energy is pure. She brings something we've been missing, a fresh excitement that's contagious." This was a fundamental difference laid bare for the entire world to see. In basketball, she was often treated as a threat, an outsider whose success somehow diminished others. In golf, she was embraced as an asset, a rising tide that could lift all boats and introduce their sport to an entirely new generation of fans. This camaraderie set the stage for the shot that would etch your name into golf lore forever. A moment of such precision it felt scripted on the dawning par 47th hole. A monster challenge that consistently trips up even seasoned PGA pros with its narrow fairway and treacherous bunkering. Clark didn't play it safe. She never does. She unleashed another swing. A flawless replication of a powerful, smooth motion. The ball flying with a magnetic pull toward the flag, drawing gasps as a track target with almost supernatural accuracy. It landed, took 2 soft bounces, rolled gently, and stopped mere inches in the cup. A tap-in birdie that defied all logic. The chaos that erupted was pure magic, a celebration of witnessed excellence. She would finish around an unbelievable 13 under par, completely obliterating the previous Pro-Am record. A score that would be impressive for a touring professional, let alone a crossover athlete. Just let that sink in. 13 under par from someone whose day job is hitting three-pointers. A feat that redefines the meaning of natural talent. The aftermath of that record-breaking performance wasn't just about headlines. It was a seismic event in the world of sports business. A case study in market force that unfolded in real time. The moment Clark's name was added to the list, ticket demand for the Pro-Am shot up by an unbelievable 1,200%, a number that made event organizers do a double-take, wondering if their systems had glitched. Phones in her agent's office began ringing off the hook. A relentless symphony of offers that turned a quiet week into a chaotic bidding war for her affiliation. A relentless stream of brands suddenly wanted a piece of the Caitlin Clark effect, understanding that her appeal transcended demographic lines and sport-specific loyalties. Within a single week, she reportedly inked multiple new monumental sponsorships, a major sports giant seeing her as a future face of athletic crossover. A premier golf equipment company won her name on their newest drivers and a streaming service documentary deal to chronicle this unprecedented chapter of her life. The combined value was reported to soar past $15 million. A life-changing sum accrued in a matter of days. Here's the brutal, sobering truth for context. She earned more in that one golf weekend than most WNBA stars accumulate over their entire careers. A stark financial reality that highlighted the immense commercial power she wields simply by showing up. This is an opinion. It's a market fact, a cold, hard numbers game that sponsors understand all too well. Sports journalists quickly coined the term the Clark effect with one headline bluntly stating, "Every league wants Caitlin Clark," and honestly, who could blame them? She isn't just a player, she's an economy. Amidst a whirlwind of adoration and criticism, Caitlin Clark's response was a masterclass in composure, a lesson in how to navigate unprecedented fame with grace and focus. When asked directly by a reporter about the conspicuous silence from her WNBA peers, she didn't bristle. She didn't offer a cryptic clapback. She simply smiled, an unwavering and self-assured look that conveyed more than any lengthy statement ever could. She said, "I'm focused on what makes me happy. That's competing. No matter what sport it is, the outside noise doesn't distract me from why I do this." It was confident, cool, and perfectly dismissive of the drama, reframing the narrative entirely around her love for the game rather than petty interpersonal conflicts. This unshakable focus, it turns out, is nothing new. A character trait forged long before the national spotlight found her. Her family watched the entire spectacle with knowing smiles, their reactions captured by cameras, showing a pride that was deep and personal. Not surprised, her mother, brimming with pride, told a reporter. Every time she picks up something new, she gives her heart to it. We've seen that determination since she was a little girl, whether it was basketball, softball, or now this. Her father, with a chuckle that said it all, a look of affectionate familiarity, added, "We stopped being surprised a long time ago. This is just who she is." The world was in shock, but her family wasn't. They had always known the depth of the talent they were raising, the relentless drive that turned hobbies into headlines and casual outings into cultural moments. Then came the ultimate validation, a nod from a legend who rarely gives them the kind of endorsement that can't be bought or manufactured. The next day, Tiger Woods was asked about Clark's performance in a press conference, and instead of canned, polite response, he offered a rare, genuine smile, a flicker of real admiration in his eyes. He said it reminded him of his own breakthrough. That intangible feeling of confidence, precision, and no fear. She has it. But it went further than a public compliment, venturing into the realm of legend. Grainy long-lens photos emerged on social media, showing Woods and Clark in a deep private conversation away from the press scrum, their body language suggesting an easy mutual respect. Sources close to the situation then claimed Woods had offered her a private training session at his exclusive golf course, an almost unheard-of gesture from the intensely private icon who is notoriously selective about his inner circle. This wasn't just a compliment. It was an invitation into golf's most exclusive inner circle of passing the torch in a way no one could have predicted. The aftershocks were still spreading fundamentally, changing the landscape of what her future could hold. Naturally, the internet erupted with jokes and speculation. If Caitlin joins the LPGA, Tiger better start checking his records. One tweet quipped. But beneath the humor was a real phenomenon. Her fans are different. They cross sports and time zones. I've never watched women's golf before, but if Caitlin's playing, I'm tuning in became a common sentiment. The ratings proved it. The broadcast of her prom appearance didn't just do well. It garnered higher viewership than most LPGA finals. Golf networks were pulling in prime-time traffic. One executive was overheard stating, "She's not a guest, she's a main event." And he was absolutely right. So, what does it all mean? From that very first effortless swing, it became clear that we had only seen a fraction of Caitlin Clark's potential. The mystery of her true athletic genius has not just been solved, it's been completely redefined. This isn't a story about a basketball player who's good at golf. This is a story about a transcendent talent who effortlessly steps into new arenas and makes them her own. Her impact isn't confined by a shot clock or a pass score. She elevates everything she touches, injecting it with energy and relevance that captivates the world. She doesn't just chase moments. The moments gravitate toward her. We are witnessing a fundamental challenge to the entire model of modern athletic specialization, a system that tells athletes to hone one skill in a narrow lane. Clark's success boldly suggests that raw, adaptable competitive genius might be the ultimate currency, a talent so pure it can be translated across different codes of sport. She forces us to ask if we've been limiting our styles by putting them in boxes too early. Her journey prompts a bigger question about the very nature of greatness. Is it about perfecting one thing or about possessing a foundational excellence that can be applied to anything? Caitlin Clark is more than an athlete. She is a cultural force, a phenomenon whose story is forcing us to tear up the old rulebook on what's possible. She is a living argument for the power of confidence and the allure of the unpredictable. So, what do you think? Is multisport mastery the future? Or is she simply a once-in-a-generation anomaly? And if she wanted to, which sport do you believe Caitlin Clark could dominate next? Could her hand-eye coordination and fierce mentality translate to the tennis court? Would a strategic mind and powerful frame make her a force in soccer? The possibilities are as wide open as her potential. Let me know your thoughts and wildest predictions in the comments below. I read every single one. And if you want to stay ahead of the curve on the stories that are truly reshaping the world of sports, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Thanks for watching.